A lot of Christians don't know this. The passage that describes what almost everyone agrees is the fall of Satan in heaven pre-Genesis is Ezekiel 28. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to point out why everybody thinks this is describing the fall of Satan. This is, by the way, an example. We talk about this a lot on the podcast. This is an example of a prophecy that has an immediate fulfillment and then an eternal fulfillment as well. What I'm getting ready to read is from Ezekiel 28. A lot of people think that it's referencing the King of Tyre, Tyre, and that would be an immediate fulfillment. Yeah. But there's no way it can just be that. And I'm going to point out why. So this is Ezekiel 28. It says, "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God." Now, let me stop there. Everybody's like, hey, dude, skeptics are like, it's talking about the King of Tyre. Well, guess who was not in Eden, the garden of God?
The King of
Tyre was not in Eden, the garden of God. Also, the King of Tyre was not the seal of perfection. Also, the King of Tyre was a wicked and foolish man. He was not full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. This has to be talking about somebody else, okay? So then it goes on. "Every precious stone adorned you. You were anointed as a guardian cherub." If you are unfamiliar with the Bible, there are typically two species, probably two species of angels. There may be more. Probably two species of angels that are referenced. Cherubim and Seraphim. Now you get into the passages that talk about the watchers. You deep dive this stuff, and there's some you can get trippy. But there's passages that talk about the watchers and all this, but there's at least two, cherubim and seraphim. The cherubim seem to be the higher ranking angels. So it says about this, whoever this is talking about, "You were anointed as a guardian cherub. For so I ordained you. For you were on the holy mount of God." Again, that's not where the King of Tyre was. "You walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways. From the day you were created till wickedness was found in you. Then your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom and you because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth, and I made a spectacle of you before kings." Now, what nearly every theologian says is that prophecy is reaching back to pre-Genesis, and it's describing the fall of Satan. All right, now let's go a layer deeper. There are only three angels that are mentioned by name in the Bible. Only three. You got Michael, Gabriel, and Lucifer. So those are the only three. So this is a little speculation, but it's educated speculation. So you only have three angels. Now you go a layer deeper, you get to Revelation. Revelation 12 seems to be the exact example of what we were talking about earlier, where Revelation is showing what's going on behind the scenes in the spiritual realm. And it says, and I'm going to read it, okay? Revelation 12 seems to be describing what happened when Satan originally fell. And it says this, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon." That is very clearly seems to be Lucifer, Satan, the devil. "And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough." That's a great verse. But he was not strong enough. Wow. Come on, somebody.
Wow.
"Greater is he that is in you." And they lost their place in heaven. "The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and watch this is really important, and his angels with him." So what it seems like you have is, interesting, you've only got three angels mentioned, Michael, Gabriel, Lucifer. Revelation 12, 3 and 4 says this, its tail, talking about the dragon, swept a third of the stars. I'm going to ask you about this here in a second.
I'm ready.
This is trippy right here. A third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to earth. And then it talks about the quote unquote his angels falling. So what it seems like you got is the three chief leader angels of heaven, Michael, Gabriel, Lucifer. Lucifer becomes proud. He doesn't want to worship God. He wants to be worshiped as God. He doesn't want to take orders. He wants to give orders. And he rebels. God casts him out of heaven. And think about that. There's three angels that are named, and a third, that's really important, a third of the angels fall with him. This answers two questions. What are angels? Angels are servants of God, spiritual servants of God in his kingdom. And what are demons? They're fallen angels.
Yes.
They used to be angels. They were cast out of heaven because they decided to follow Lucifer. And now they're on earth doing his bidding to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, put your tinfoil hat on. There are a significant number. I don't know if you know this, Carlos. There are a significant number. It's not this fringe theory. There are a significant number of theologians in church history who have said that what stars are, C.S. Lewis, by the way, is one of these people. What stars are angels.
Or now, at least they're governed by angels.
Or are governed by angels.
Yeah, it's this. Yeah,
now, what C.S. Lewis says, what is it in The Great Divorce, or what's it in?
He's got it in a few things. His Space Trilogy.
Yeah, Paralandra.
Paralandra. It's
basically C.S. Lewis thing was like, he was, this is a C.S. Lewis, like, postmodern scientific enlightenment. Like, he's not an idiot. He knew that science was going, hey, dude, they're flaming balls of gas. And his thing was, I think it's in Paralandra. He said, no, that's what they're made of. He said, spiritually, what they are is I think they're actually celestial beings. Now, we can't spend too much time on this. That's why.
I got you.
We can't spend too much time on this. Paul, will you talk about the theme in church history of theologians surmising that stars either are angels or are governed by them?
I would love to. And I think, can I lay 20 seconds of extra foundation
15,
down?
Please do.
It's like you got it. Wow.
We're good.
So God is an uncreated spiritual being, but he can manifest himself physically. Think burning bush, cloud of fire, pillar of fire, and cloud in the Old Testament. Before God created the physical realm, he created a spiritual realm with spiritual beings. Those spiritual beings can also manifest themselves physically. Now, they're not bound by physical, because it seems like they can appear, disappear kind of a thing, but they can manifest themselves physically. This is important. I think even set up potentially for, in terms of, wait a second, could it be a star, thing like that. But this is not just some fanciful made-up thing that, it's kind of cool if there are stars. What Lewis, and then he's really pulling, especially from medieval theologians, are really, they're pulling from Scripture, though. He's not simply pulling from them, they're pulling from Scripture. Because just listen to these passages. Job 38:7. At creation, the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. So in Hebrew, that's called parallelism. So it is equating stars with the sons of God, which is a title for angels. In Judges 5:20, it talks about how the stars were fighting from heaven in this battle. Daniel 8:10, the host of heaven and stars are equated with heavenly beings. Revelation 1:20, Jesus interprets the 7 stars as angels of the 7 churches. So you see this motif in Scripture that often stars are associated with angels. Now, some would push back, and I think there's some credence to this, that each of the things I just mentioned were either poetry, a song, like for example from Judges, or apocalyptic literature. So it might be symbolic, but at the same time, I think it at least has a little bit of credence to say that the angels are, by God, it's almost like delegation, although still God is also in control. The angels order and rule the cosmos, or at least have some kind of delegated authority to do it.
So basically, in the same, now, by the way, just for clarity, we're not saying this is a certainty for us.
No.
But what I am saying is that it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's worthy of consideration. And in the same way that when Moses was on the mountain and he looked at the burning bush, if you were to ask him, what is that? And if you had said, that's a bush with a lot of heat, the correct answer would have been, well, no, that's what it's made of. But what is that? That's the presence of God.
Wow.
Yes.
Some theologians throughout church history have said, hey, what is that? That's a flaming ball of gas. No, that's what it's made out of.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What that might be is an actual celestial being.
That's fascinating.
No, it is interesting.
Never heard of this before.